We're all good?
Great.
And so look at me, don't look at
Okay.
Okay. You got it focused?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, so Mike, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Mike Piver. I'm the new CEO at Alabama Orthopedic Clinic in Mobile, Alabama.
Okay, awesome. And how many doctors do you guys have? What is your practice look
Sure.
like?
So we have 21 orthopedic physicians. They range in age as well as in specialty. So we have some at the ends of their career, some at the beginnings of their careers. We do total joints, spine, sports med, pain management, foot and ankle, and hand.
Okay, great. You guys have been working with White Plume since 2002.
Right.
So tell me about a little bit of what you know about the relationship between AOC and White Plume.
So what I know, I've been in this role for 3 months. So what I know of this relationship is that my chief controller is absolutely in love with White Plume. She talks about it on a regular basis. She talks about how it makes her job real easy on the reporting side, how it is extremely efficient for her coders. And so being a new CEO in this role, I'm going to continue to keep her happy, and we'll continue on with this relationship for sure.
So when you talk about your controller, and she may not have told you this, what does she think the impact that White Plume has on the rev cycle process for you
Sure.
guys?
So it's made a tremendous impact. So her coders and the folks in the revenue side, I believe they only touch the claims that have issues. So they're not looking at everything, so they can become very efficient and quickly adjust or make changes if they're not done automatically to the claims to get them out the doors. And so we've got a tremendous, our days in AR are just slightly over 20, which we were doing well before we had White Plume, and this has just gotten us that much more efficient. So again, if I can bring money in quicker and within the month that we're doing it, again, it just drops to the bottom line, and our physicians are very happy.
That's perfect. You know, you think about that 20 days in AR, that is fantastic. And the other thing that you're able to do is do that in an incredibly productive way. That metric that we look at is encounters per coder per hour. Right. And you guys are at 140 encounters per coder per hour.
Right.
So when I think about coder productivity, you know, how productive are your coders, or how do you measure that?
So again, we take a look at the dashboards that y'all are able to produce for us. I think Kitty looks at those on a very regular basis. I know that within that metric there, we have one of our folks, that's all she does. And that's great, and so her productivity is huge. We have a lot of other folks within there that have multiple job duties, but Kitty's able to see what their productivity is and to make sure that it continues to be at that top notch.
That's perfect. They're going to cut me out of all of this. They don't want me talking. So how productive is your team? Do you know what that encounters per coder per hour metric is for them?
I don't. Again, I look to Kitty to give me that information.
Okay, got it. All right. How about this? The average coder across the country does 25 encounters per coder per hour. That's the metric across the board. You guys are at 140.
Right.
So that's 6.1 times more productive.
Right.
And the key to that in that process is that exception only. Like they only look at the ones that have the problem.
Correct.
We call that exception only coding.
Okay.
So you may have to rephrase part of this for me, but my thought would be, the exception only coding process makes us over 6 times more productive than the average practice.
Okay. All right. So how are you guys so productive on your coding process? Right. So I believe that the exception only coding process helps us and helps our coders to only concentrate on those claims that have issues. So that's why I think we're 5.5 to 6 times better in terms of the national average of codes and claims that our folks work versus everybody else. So again, that's just makes us that much more efficient into the process.
Okay, perfect. And you may not know about this. When you think about the support or the partnership or anything like that you get from the people at White Plume, have you had enough
experience with that, or have you heard any of that from Catherine?
Sure. So Catherine, again, when I talked to her about White Plume and when we've had visits, her comments to me are, Mike, this is a vendor that when I pick up the phone or when we have issues, they answer the phone. They're very responsive to our needs. And again, I can't tell you that we're the largest group, especially a group that y'all work with, but to be able for her to pick up the phone and to talk to a live person and get the answers to the questions in an extremely timely manner, it just keeps the whole business office process working smoothly.
Yeah, we love the opportunity
Sure.
to get to work with AOZ, obviously, and to help brag on that 140 encounters per coder per hour
Right.
that's huge. Y'all are doing an awesome job with that.
Right.
So,
Thank you.
So we appreciate the opportunity to get to work with you guys.
Absolutely. We appreciate it as well.
What else was I going to ask? I know. So when we talk with, other CEOs of orthopedic practices, and when they want to call a client and say, hey, what do you think about White Plume, or what should I be looking about it? If you're going to tell them a sentence or two based on what you know so far, what would you tell them?
I think, again, the responsiveness to questions, the ability to automatically make changes to coding rules is huge for us. But I think that the dashboard, again, from a CEO standpoint, if I can look at a dashboard, a one or two slide dashboard and see where my issues are, and we can concentrate on those issues, but I can also see where our successes are and we can celebrate our successes, it makes it easy for me to run a really tight business office.
Yeah, that's awesome. One of the things that Lisa Warren was just talking about was using those analytics that we review with our clients, not as a punitive thing
Right.
for their team, but looking for opportunities to get the outcome that you're after.
Yep.
Is that the way that you think about that as
Yes.
a CEO?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that, again, using the data for good and being able to show the coders and the business office staff and to help them to understand why this is important. I think if you can break it down into littles and to show them why it's important and how this productivity works, and also get their input and feedback on things that can be improved upon, then it's a very, very much of a collaborative relationship. And so we use the data for good and not evil.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. That's a good way to say it. All right, what am I missing, guys?
Yeah, I'm glad you added that in, because we specifically discussed celebrating them.
Yeah.
To me, often they are they're
Yeah.
often overlooked. They're behind the scenes, but that's where the money's
Right.
coming from. And
Absolutely.
yes, they're not producing the revenue,
Right.
but without their work,
Right.
and so
Right.
I love that you're using that.
No, I mean, I think one of the things that I need to do a better job of is taking the information, taking some of this data and showing it to our board and saying, listen, don't forget about these people. Yes, we have Cube World and they're here, and it's not the glitzy and glamour and speed that's down in the clinic, but they are as important, if not more important, on the backside. And this is why, if you don't document well, if you don't do the things, if you don't do all this stuff on the front end, then there's a delay on the back end. And so these folks are doing everything they can to decrease those delays, and then again to take this data and say, let me show you, here's the national average, here's where we are. This is what it equates to. There are people that would kill to have that kind of productivity, and we have it, and these folks love doing it every day and all day. And so, yeah, I think, again,
And it's easy to take that for granted, right? That's just
very
your
much.
world that you've been swimming in, and
Yep.
we've always been this
Right.
productive. We've done a great job of this for the past 15 years.
Right.
Without reminding everybody, here's the benchmark is 25 encounters per hour.
Mhm.
We're at 140,
Right.
and that means we have fewer.
Yep.
I was going to say the fewer people, the bigger.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think
Yeah.
from my understanding too, I guess before we had White Plume, or maybe as in the early stages, we had, I don't know, we had 3 more people than we have now, because now their productivity has gotten so good. So either through attrition or we've repurposed folks. That's huge. When I look at my overall expense in the business office, which is always, physicians look at it as an expense. And again, if we can keep that, if their productivity can be high, then the expense per se is low.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's perfectly well said.
Good deal.
I got one last question. I don't want to put you on the spot. Feel free to tell me no, please. Yeah, what's that? They're heckling me back
Right,
there.
right.
So if you feel comfortable, the question would be, would you be willing to say, hey, our metric of where our people are is 140 encounters per coder per hour.
Mhm.
That's where your team is.
Right.
Compared to the 25 national average. Are you comfortable saying the 140 encounters per coder per hour as hey, here's where we are at AOC?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, again, I think that our productivity with 140 claims, is it claims per hour?
No, it's okay. It's so we are at 140 encounters per coder per hour, 140 encounters per coder per hour compared to the national average of 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our 140 encounters per coder per hour is, I would say, is a top benchmark as opposed to the national average of 25. And again, I can't tell you how important that is to our organization and how we celebrate that on a regular basis with our staff and with our people.
Perfect. You're natural.
Yeah, right.
Thank you. That's
No,
great.
not a problem.
I really